As you round up the undercover acolytes, you may notice the two villagers who are in a fight in town. One is named Tyler and the other Robert. You can't see this in-game, but in the map file they each have tooltips. Tyler says Tyler Durd inevitably resorts to using his agility and patience to wear down opponents with a constant barrage of light blows. And Robert says Robert, Paul's son, is slow and lumbering, but he makes up for this with great vitality and a mean left hook. These villagers are an obvious reference to Tyler Durden and Robert Paulson from the movie Fight Club. These same two villagers, later killed and raised as undead, can be found in World of Warcraft in the Undercity's War Quarter, though Robert's last name has been changed to Gossam. This next Easter egg is super sneaky. You might have noticed this big empty spot on your map, this field behind the trees where Arthas starts out. You have some ghouls that can cut down the trees, but there's an obvious rock barrier discouraging you from thinking too hard about getting behind them. However, there is one weak spot here between these two houses. Cut through this tree barrier and then through the weak spot by this other rocky outcropping. There are a few golems here, and the rock golem will drop some ogre gauntlets of strength +3 for Arthas. While you're over there, have the ghouls cut down the few trees here. There's a scroll of healing inside the crate by the rowboats. Digging up the dead has several amusing little secrets. The first is pretty easy to find. If you cross the stream and make your way to the southern district of the village, you'll find a moonlit area where Tychondrius is hanging out. If you approach him, he'll morbidly devour the souls of some entranced villagers. The next is found up this hill east of town. The path itself leads to some renegade wizards, but if you instead knock down the trees where the path bends by these skulls on sticks, you'll find a hidden path. The path leads to a hidden society of Sasquatches, complete with a humorous cutscene.
What the hell is that?
And the best part is, you get some claws of attack +6 for your trouble. The next also requires knocking down some trees. A lot of secrets in this campaign do. This time behind Balador the Bright's military camp north of Anderhall. Clear-cut this forest with your meat wagons and you'll find a peaceful little waterfall the game calls a pandaren relaxation area. There aren't any pandaren to be seen or items to be gained, but you do get a brief flash of the game's special panda and cub filter. This is an excellent example of what pandaren used to be in Warcraft canon, just Easter eggs. Blizzard released an announcement about a new pandaren race as an April Fool's joke, but the lore eventually solidified. Next thing you know, they add a pandaren brewmaster hero, and eventually an entire World of Warcraft expansion arises. All of this was due to Samwise Didier, Blizzard's art director, who is obsessed with pandas. What started out as some little jokes is now canonical lore within the Warcraft universe. What you're seeing in some of these Easter eggs is the race's very earliest origins. I personally wish they had just stayed this way. I've never been a fan of mixing European and Asian fantasy genres, and don't even get me started on Illidan's warglaives. I mean, come on! The final Easter egg on the map is in this farmhouse down in the southwestern area of the map. One of the sheep is carrying a goblin nightscope. If you kill it close enough to the fence, Arthas can just reach in and get it. Otherwise, you'll need the meat wagons to do even more tree clearing. I like this area because usually you're just going to fight through Uther and kill him up where his camp is, but it requires a little bit of effort to come down here and find this somewhat useful item. Also, I'm not sure where this dialogue belongs, but it might have been here during the showdown between Uther and Arthas. Uther has some unused dialogue similar to Muradin's taunts I showed you on the human campaign video.
Come then, Shadow Spawn. I am the Hammer of Justice.
And speaking of paladins, for whatever reason, the paladins in this map have different names assigned to them in the scenario's trigger editor than they do in the actual map. Gavinrad the Dyer is called Lord Nicholas Buzan, Sage Truthbearer is named Gregory Edmondson, and Balador the Bright's name is Edward King. If you've ever messed around with the map editor, you may have noticed these first two as the paladin models with black hair and white hair respectively. I never noticed until I looked into these maps that the paladins are never known by their models' names in the actual campaign. Why is this? We may never know. There are a couple of secrets in Quel'thalas, but they're pretty lame ones. Because of all the glowing runes around showing you where you have to knock down trees, you pretty much get used to paving paths through the forest with your meat wagons, so it's not hard to find the few places with items in them. In the first level, there's this area with the gnolls, where you'll get a ring of protection +2. And in the Key of the Three Moons, there's this little community that you have to backtrack to find, and you'll get a scroll of mana. Besides those rather lackluster areas that I'm embarrassed Blizzard even bothered to attach the secret sound effect to, there's not a lot to find in-game. As for the scenario files themselves, I did find a small point of interest. Judging by the sound files prepped in the Key of the Three Moons level, it's clear that the developers were at least at one time toying with the idea of turning Sylvanas into a banshee one level earlier. The sound files for Arthas killing Sylvanas and raising her aren't wired to any triggers, but they are loaded in the sound editor. The developers apparently decided that Sylvanas hadn't harassed Arthas enough, so they made this transformation occur in the Fall of Silvermoon instead. I love this level. No level in all of the Warcraft III campaigns capture the feel of Warcraft II better than this one. The Easter egg here can be easy to miss. Backtrack along the pathway to the south and knock down these trees. You'll find a troll and some murlocs in the shallows who will drop a really nice Sobi mask. Dalaran, the city of magic and mystery, and surprisingly, not many secrets.
We have many secrets.
Ha ha ha. No you don't, Kieran Tormage. The only secret I could find is this hermit archmage tending some sheep off to the side of your base that you might miss. He drops a health stone, and there's an anti-magic potion in his tent. Besides that, the only intriguing thing I found out is that on the map editor, the energy fields encompassing the city are not regional weather effects as I previously thought, but nearly 600 doodads. As a map maker myself, I'm really surprised and confused as to why the developers took that route. The last level, Under the Burning Sky, is a defense map, but it does have a couple of points of interest if you're willing to venture out into enemy territory. The Grey team is guarding a magic vault that contains an awesome Scepter of Mastery and a Medallion of Courage. Both are really worthwhile if you're willing to fight your way through a whole lot of enemies. And uncreative as it is, there happens to be another Hermit Shepherd Archmage on this map, this time on an island in the middle of the lake. If you wait out there, you can score a Ring of Protection +5 and a Tome of Strength +2. Also, he gets really mad if you attack his sheep. Also, can I just say how boring this level's layout is? Compared to some of the maps we've seen thus far, it really looks like they just gave up halfway through tiling this one. I know most players will stick close to kel'thuzad and defend more than explore anyway, but areas like this up here are really disappointing. Makes me wonder if they had some kind of deadline to keep or something. That is it for the Path of the Damned campaign. Thanks for watching. Again, if I missed any Easter eggs, be sure to let me know. I know I missed a couple in the human campaign video, despite my best efforts, so I'll just make a sort of addendum video after I'm done to just showcase all the ones I missed in these main videos. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. It means a lot. I'll see you next time.